I would like to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by the Dolphin Wars.
Good afternoon and welcome to King Dolphin TV. I am Raymond, author of the Dolphin Wars series of books, and I'd like to welcome you all to the best pod in YouTube. I hope you're all doing well today. We're having a little bit of issues on the King Queen Dolphins site. I'll tell you in a bit. But tonight we are honored to have Brandon, the anime guy, join the pod. He has a channel where he discusses anime. So I'd like you to all give a King Dolphin Television welcome to Brandon, the anime guy. Before we begin, I'd like to before we begin, if you like what King Dolphin TV is doing, please like and subscribe. Also, I am looking for creators. I'd like to bring creators out, whether they're YouTube channel creators or if they are artists, musicians, etc., etc. Please let me know and I'll reach out to them or have them reach out to me. So let me give you a little sit rep here. Sandra was going to be a little late because she was going to get an oil change. Well, I just found out a moment ago that she has the same issue that I had with my car with the overheating. Go figure. Two cars of the same brand, same year, having the same problem within a week of each other. So go figure. So right now she's waiting to get the vehicle towed here. She said the show has to go on, so the show will go on. So let us welcome everybody who is here. Okay, let's see. We have our amazing wrenches. We have Legatus Legionii. We have Snorta Pupus Q Burr. We have John Rendo. And we have Pudgy Hedgehog, who's currently setting up the kitty table. Everybody is the wrenches are here. And then we have here, we have Dalek 451. We have Lord Thoth. And I think that's what we've got so far here right now. So let us begin. As usual, the rules are we ask the questions before as sort of a icebreaker, and then we will open it up to chat so everybody can get interactive with Brandon. And let us
get this candle lit.
Yes, let's get this candle lit. Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's see.
So besides the vehicle conundrums, how are you doing today, King Dolphin? And thank you for having me here today.
Oh, I'm glad. It's good. It's good. It's been it's been busy at work, with the students coming in, selling stuff at our swag store. But other than that, it's been good. But it's always good when I can get together with the chat and do these interviews. So let's get started. Let's get started here. All right. So again, what we'll do is I will ask questions of Brandon. Everybody's saying, "Hail, Brandon!" I got let's see, Dalek451 said, "All hail to Brandon." Hello, Dalek451. Lord Thoth says, "Brandon." So,
yes, so many good people here today. So many that I recognize, and some that are new to me. So it's great to see everyone here.
Yeah. And Pudgy says, "Everyone was kung fu fighting. Mr. Raymond kicks as fast as lightning." Oh, I feel like kicking something, Pudgy. I really do. Hello, Andy Masterson.
Master Anderson is, or yes, Master Masterson is here.
Yes, Master Masterson is here. Yes. So let's get started here. So Brandon.
Yes.
Let us tell us about yourself outside of your channel as much as you dare tell us. What do you do? Okay. Where'd you go to school? Blah blah.
Well, I'm an Idaho boy, born and raised. It's where I currently live. Lived here all my life. Traveled most of the West. Married, kids. Pretty standard fare life for out here in the West. Moved out of the city to get away from all the let's just say the morons, but in doing so, the cost of the internet went up exponentially. But that's,
of course,
yeah, that's just one of those the benefits of living outside the city, yet still close enough to the city. But let's see. Yeah. I work. Let's see. What do I do? Hold on. I apologize. I had a massively bad bout of insomnia, and I'm only on about 4 hours of sleep. So my brain might not fully function as quickly as it normally does. Right now I work in market research. Been doing that for about 4 years now, and yeah, just other than that, watching the kids grow up. They're all teenagers now, all in middle school and all that. So. I've got more time to do what I want to do, and the kids don't want to do as much with me as they used to, but it's just how that goes from transitioning from, kids in grade school versus early teenagers. And then eventually I'll deal with later teenagers and all that fun stuff. So yay.
Yay. Yeah. As you count down the years before they hit the college.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I told them that I'm not going to pay for college, not university level stuff. I told them that I would help them go to either a trade school or get a 2-year degree in something that they can actually get a job at when they turn 21, as opposed to the other stuff. If they choose to go and do a 4-year degree, then that's on them, and that's their own financial burdens at that point. So
yeah,
hopefully my wife and I have drilled it into their heads enough that that's the way to go, because facts are facts. 4-year university degrees, unless you're going for something very specific that you can only do that, it just doesn't pay. So
yeah. All right. So okay, now we get to the channel. What made you want to create a channel?
Well, originally, when I had started watching YouTube really heavily, was back during the Orange Man years, and primarily on the political side of things, and I had a few pop culture things here and there, but nothing too major. It wasn't until we started having problems with the Hollywood system making movies that absolutely, completely, and totally suck, like the show that shall not be named from 2016 with people that don't exist, to the to Star, to Faux Wars, to Faux Trek, to all of that. And there's things about all of this that didn't sit quite right with me. And it wasn't until after the 2020 honkenings that I said I have to step back from YouTube for a bit. I cleared out pretty much everyone that I followed, with a few exceptions, and that's when I found Doomcock. And Doomcock was really the first to put me more into that frame. Now, there are quite a few people out there that do pop culture stuff. Excuse me, in various forms, and they each have their own shtick that they do, and DC does what he does, and all the others do what they do. But one thing that I had always liked but hadn't really been into for a long time was Japanese animation, shorthand name anime. Right. And I thought, my wife had pushed me to do a channel years ago, and my original channel that I had, I was doing some game uploads, nothing really spectacular, exciting. I didn't really have the proper software or the proper hardware to really get into it. But once the honking happened, drop everything, switch over to following DC and everybody else that's followed since. She said that I should look at it again. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I decided, what's the one thing that most people don't cover? That's anime. And I'm starting to get back into it that time. And since I've gotten back into it, I have completely fallen in love with anime again. I love the old stuff from the 80s and the 90s. That's where I started. That's what I remember the most. I was doing some research on stuff from the 70s, some great stuff then. A lot of stuff that came out in the 2000s that I should have watched, but I didn't. And then the current crop of stuff, there is a lot more of it now than there was back then. And what there is now, I would say most of it is worth at least checking out and giving time to. But no one else was doing it, so I thought, I'll give it a try. So I started my channel over a year ago under my original handle, which was GoGo13, aka me, my name, Brandon. And that was going for about 2 months before someone somewhere decided to send in a complaint to me to the powers that be at YouTube, saying that I was being a spammer, a scammer, or a deceiver. So my channel got taken out. Well, we mounted a campaign, got it back, and a month later, it was gone again, and they basically told me to go F off. That in the nicest, without swearing, that's in essence what they told me to do.
That's crazy.
And at that point, I was really seriously debating whether if I wanted to do this again or not. After talking with with my producer and with my backers, I decided to go ahead and start a whole new one, change the persona and everything. And about a week later, I decided, instead of taking on the persona of the aforementioned Golgo, I decided to rebrand as myself and call me the anime guy. Okay. And my avatar, which was graciously created by our mutual friend Fet for Hire. He was able to blend. He
says hi, by the way.
Oh yes.
Hail Fet for Hire.
Hail Fet for Hire. He's so great. He was able to blend my my look at the time with my absolute favorite miniseries that's perfect for this time of year, Alucard from Hellsing Ultimate. And from that's where I decided to get started. And moving out here to the country, I had to take care of all those things, had to get a reasonable quality internet out here so that way I could do this. Right. And I relaunched on January 1st of this year. So this current run has been going for about a year,
Mhm.
and I had a dose of really good luck there. Was able to get up above the 1,000, get the hours going, get monetized, and here's what I'll say about that. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. Unless you have the time to really go completely, for lack of a cleaner term, all balls out, it's near impossible to make any type of reasonable living on YouTube. Now, I appreciate the hustle. There are people out there that do 3, 4, 5 produced videos a day, live streaming, etc. That's all great and dandy. I can't do that. I have to do my day job in order to pay the bills.
Yes.
But this is more for just for the fun of it and for the hobby. And over the year, I've had a lot of fun doing it. There have been a little bit of burnout here and there because trying to feed that feed the machine, it does take time. But past that, yeah, I enjoy it, and I can tell you that taking the time to actually look at what's coming out each season, I have had more reasonable quality entertainment than I've had in a very long time. And that's one of the things that I'm refocusing on is keeping up with the new stuff, respecting the classics, talking about them, talking with people that maybe are huge into anime, maybe not so huge into anime, and helping them find something that you will like and that you will enjoy to basically fill the void that Western media has been leaving us. So that's primarily why I decided to do it, is to spread the joy of great television, great anime. Yeah.
Yep. And as an anime lover too, I definitely going to check out your channel. But I have a niche group of anime that I like, and we'll talk about that. And Legata says, well, over 1.39 thousand people agree with your hobby, Brandon. Very
Yeah,
good, Legata.
that's
And hello to low spec Linux laptops. Try saying that 4 or 10 times fast. Okay, so let's go on with questions. So you've been doing this about over a year now.
Yeah, between the two, over a year. Current run, 10 months.
Okay. And your channel is pretty much anime, more anime, and nothing but anime.
Mostly. I do love gaming. I've always loved gaming. Those are gaming and anime are my two favorite things to do, and I've dabbled a little bit on the gaming here and there, but if I'm refocusing for the rest of this year on anime, and at the beginning of next year, at the 1 year anniversary, I'm going to make a few little adjustments to a few things and how things are done to be primarily still focused on anime, but do a little bit more gaming, specifically gaming with games that are either A, made in Japan, B, set in Japan, or C, are anime-esque type games, because throughout the years, there's just a ridiculous amount of them. Plus, with as bad as Sony has become, the PC and for the most part Nintendo have become the de facto home for anything created by a Japanese developer.
Okay.
And fortunately, I have a PC that's more than capable of playing everything.
Cool. Speaking of gaming, I used to have the old school Commodore 64, and they actually played, and the old IBM, and they had some good flight simulator games.
That they did.
Yes.
I had a Commodore 64 way back as a kid. As a kid, so yeah, I remember those. I remember those days.
Yeah, I'm dating myself, but some of my flight sim games were Stealth Fighter, F-15 Eagle, Mega Fortress, where they have a B-52 simulator, and I'd love to be able to play those. I see something where you could play it, but it's one of these that I'm afraid that something may end up getting put on my computer if I try doing those old school games on the
Well,
newest.
emulation, even emulating older computers, has become extremely popular and is extremely vital for the preservation of a lot of these games. Now, compared to a gaming console, the PC is the one continuous piece of hardware that technically can play everything back from the beginning, about the 80s, up till today. Maybe not just by putting in a disk and having it run like how it used to, but that's something that can be done, and that's something that low-spec Linux laptop is big into, is the preservation and understanding of how emulation works. And yeah, we can get you set up with basically any type of non-IBM PC. We can get you an emulator to run that. So Commodore 64 emulators, piece of cake.
Well, I think
MSX.
I think the Mega Fortress was a IBM, an old IBM one. I'm trying to remember.
If it was pre-DOS, there's typically a way to get about anything going with that.
All right. And let's see. So we've gone over the subjects. The good thing about my questions is they tend to blend with each other. So it leads to different discussions, and they're all relevant. So this goes, what will you not talk about on your channel? My channel specifically, since it's not geared towards it, I won't do politics, even though that's my natural inclination. I do have to fight against myself to keep it as apolitical as possible. As far as within the realm of anime, hentai, although hentai technically just means pervert in Japanese, but that term has been co-opted to encompass pretty much anything that would be considered X-rated or above within animation. I don't go there. I don't need to go there. I'm not 20 years old. I'm not single. Basically, that stuff doesn't interest me. Okay.
Other than that, within the realm of anime, pretty much about anything else, and censorship is a big thing. There has been a little bit more of that, or the way that things are done are a little different than what they used to be. And then within the realm of gaming, pretty much about anything. Modern gaming, older gaming. I love gaming, and I've got a pretty vast knowledge base for pretty much everything. Let's say from about 2010 prior. PlayStation 4 and 5s, 4 was fine. The 5 is a joke. Xbox One, might as well just have a computer, and I do. So yeah, I can. Those are the things that I do like to talk about, and things that I won't talk about. Okay,
all right. So this next question is, and I agree totally. Dalek, politics is strictly forbidden on my channel too.
Yeah. If I wanted to do a politics channel, I would have started a politics channel, but I wouldn't be able to do that on YouTube because of how YouTube pretty much demotes it. Out of all the different subject matters, it is the one that probably gets hit the hardest, and is the hardest to find independent content creation with that, unless they are already established. As examples, H.A. Goodman, Styx Hexenhammer, or Treehouse News.
Yeah,
they're ones that I still follow from back prior to 2020. But YouTube will push quote unquote authoritative sources like your CNNs, your Fox News, your New York Times, the three-letter networks, the three-letter Mockingbird agencies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So
All right.
if I was going to do that, I would do it on a different platform.
Yeah. Let's
and
do
under
it
a
again.
completely different moniker.
Yep. And let's move on.
Yes.
We've talked about that ad nauseum. Okay, so let's get to the meat of this.
Yes.
This might be tough for you to answer, but since we do want to get the chat involved, let's do very quickly. What genre does anime have a specific genre, and if so, what do you like?
That's a very hard one. Most of the stuff that's done is a major blending of typically 4 to 5 different genres.
Okay.
If I really had to break it down to focus on what's the main trope, I would have to say sci-fi action.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say cyberpunk-esque type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would have to say either slice of life or isekai. Isekai is basically a person either in the real world or in a fake world being pulled into a different world and living a completely different life, whether it be through reincarnation or getting stuck in a game, things like that. That's been very popular, massively popular over about the past 10 or so years.
Okay.
And of course, there's variations and offshoots of all of them. But yeah, those are pretty much it. So
Okay.
as far as my absolute favorites, well, I do really like Hellsing Ultimate. It's by far my favorite horror-esque type show.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have to say Ghost in the Shell, the standalone complexes from the 2000s. They're great.
Yeah.
And then the 90s. The 90s has some of my favorite shows.
Hail the Major.
Yes. Hail Major Kusanagi.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She kicks ass and takes names.
That she does. I love Trigun, and I'm nervous about the new one, or the Trigun Stampede that they're doing. It's supposedly is going to follow the manga closer or actually finish it, but there's questions with it, and of course, pretty much about everything. I really like all of it, and I really do love, as far as modern, My Hero Academia and Uzaki-chan Just Wants to Hang Out. They're just great shows, fun, just great.
Okay, so we just went into the top 3. Mine are oh man. Of course, I'm dating myself. I go back to the days of Astro Boy and Speed Racer and Marine Boy. Those are the ones I grew up with. And I'm getting a silence, which means someone hasn't heard about them.
I know of them, but I've never taken the time to sit down and watch them. As I said, my knowledge and my viewing habits have been more from the 80s on up. It's a story that I've told before, but I'll make it quick. Where I first started watching anime was with the Sci-Fi Channel in the 90s and their Festival of Animation.
Oh yeah.
You name it. If it was in the 80s, the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, they showed it. It was awesome. Loved it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then I went to my three would have to be Dragon Ball Z, with the Falconer soundtracks. None of that old garbage. I never really got into that. Lupin the Third.
Ah, yes, Lupin the Third.
Yes, Lupin the Third was my second best, and then I was as we were discussing this last night, was Kill la Kill.
That's a pretty big stretch going from those two to Kill la Kill, because Studio Trigger is just so different compared to the rest of them.
It was.
But
I
it's
didn't
great.
like it at first, but then as I watched it, I'm going, oh my god! Oh yeah, Star Blazers. Star Blazers was
Yes.
my favorite one. When that actually, that was actually the basis of one of the iterations of my story before it became dolphinized. Yeah, Dalek says yes. Kill la Kill is awesome. Yeah,
Yes,
I want to know. I want to know how Toonami let go as much as they did. I mean, there was a lot they cut, but they still kept a lot.
It does make you wonder how they do determine what can get passed for basic cable censorship and what can't. But yeah, it's one of those shows that you'll typically either really, really love or wonder what the hell's wrong with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we have gone through the questions, and now we will open up to our amazing chat for questions. And if you've got any screenshots that you want to share, we can you could put some.
Well, what I have is more of what's current. Okay. So we'll dive into that here a little later. But okay. Yes, questions away. If anyone has questions,
I've already seen a couple. I just gotta go and grab them. And no latest Sandra update. No word from her. She's safe in a gas station, just waiting for a tow truck. Okay. Yeah. Legata says, "What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything?" I wish I knew. Just don't pay off your car so things break on them. Add that to the Legatus. Add that to the immutable laws. Let's see. And Snorter Poopus says they call him Raymond. Oh gosh, Raymond faster than light. Let's see. And of course, the universe is made of many particles: protons, electrons, gluons, and lots of morons.
So very true.
Yes, so very true. Legatus has some advice for you. You need to dream of more anime and its waifus to help get more sleep.
I'm not entirely sure if the long-suffering Mrs. Anime would appreciate me dreaming of waifus. So more anime, yes. Waifus, no.
Yeah. Dalek 451 says he knows what you mean. If it wasn't for Doomcock, I'd have never met any of you wonderful people and started doing this YouTube stuff. Hail Doomcock. Hail Doomcock. Yes. I think he inspired a lot of us. Okay, let's see. Snorter Poopus Cooper says, it looks like a lot of creative people have fled from comics to anime.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to see that.
Yeah, as a point of interest, when you look at the Scantron totals monthly from all the various retail chains, typically about 18 to 19 of the top 20 are all Japanese manga, ranging from My Hero Academia to Berserk to Demon Slayer. You name it, that's where it's at. And the reason that it's where it's at is because they don't pander to the wokey wokes. They do their thing, and if you don't like it, that's too bad. And that's what's made them. That's why I always liked it. They never. The way that they do their storytelling is vastly different than how we do it in the West. The Japanese language is, compared to English, it's like certain forms of Spanish and German. It's backwards. So how we have our sentence structure for a lot of their sentences, it's reversed. That, and instead of having just a 26 or a 24 or even a 20 character language alphabet, 1,000 script language, and dependent upon how you're doing it, the script can change vastly. And once again, how it's said in the Anglophiled way, or how it's presented in the Romanji, is it can reverse itself. It's a very difficult language to learn, unfortunately, but it, in my opinion, it's a very beautiful language to listen to, especially from the females.
Mhm. All right. Let's see. Dalek says he's loved anime his whole life, and today it's more precious to me than ever. I am definitely down with that, Dalek. I love anime.
Absolutely, right there with you. It's
okay. The Goddess Legion Eye has his first question. Do your kids share in the enjoyment of anime? Do you watch it with them, or have they outgrown it?
They don't. They're more of the YouTube watching type. They would start off years ago. They started off watching other people play games on YouTube, and I told them to stop that and play the games themselves. So they did that, and then they've gone into music, their own type music. And my daughter does. They do like to watch some Studio Ghibli stuff, so I do have them on that. And my daughter likes to watch The Promised Neverland and My Hero Academia. Past that, no, they don't like it. And for the most part, most of the stuff that's out there that is coming out, I wouldn't feel comfortable with kids in grade school. Maybe when they're teenagers, it's a little easier, but not as much, with a few exceptions. But most of it's not for kids.
Snorter Pooper says, I suspect most of the hentai fans are in their 60s. No comment.
Yeah, no comment.
No comment, Snorter. Okay, let's see. I think we all know what we like to hear. Do you want, Legatus asks, do you watch anime in its original language or dubbed Western edited versions?
Depends. All the current stuff that I'm watching has not been dubbed yet. And the stuff that's on Crunchyroll, they typically don't get the English dubs on them started until about 4 or 5 weeks in. Now, a lot of the stuff that I watched originally was dubbed. So that's what I prefer to watch, like with Vampire Hunter D, Tenchi Muyo. Yeah. And all those. And there are certain other dubs that are superior to their Japanese counterparts, specifically Cowboy Bebop and Trigun. Now, I've watched My Hero dubbed. I actually prefer it that way, but we do have to be a bit careful, especially within the past 5 years or so, because of the woke wankery that's been going on with Funimation and with Crunchyroll. Now, most of the Japanese studios, if they're doing a translation and if they're doing a dub, they've been moving more towards doing it all in-house to eliminate Funimation from doing what they've done, and also to prevent other situations like what happened with Macross being turned into BattleTech. Even though I love BattleTech, it's not the same, and it's the same with Go Lion being turned into Voltron, or combining two shows to make it one for the English audience. It's really strange how some of that happened, like with Battle of the Planets, Team Ninja Force Gatchaman. The Japanese version of that is way different and way more bloody than what we got.
Yeah. Well, they also, what was it? Space Battleship Yamato became Star Blazers.
Yeah, which, same deal.
Star Blazers was awesome. Star Blazers was absolutely awesome.
Sometimes they do a great job. Sometimes they don't.
What is the other? I've kind of pulled away from anything having to do with Funimation, even though it's there and they're like fungus, they grow. But what's the story on Funimation? They just became extremely woke.
Oh yeah, most of the voice dub actors, for lack of a better term, their heads grew so big that they started growing up their own ass. That and completely changing meanings or tones of a show vastly more than what had been done prior. And because of that, because of those things, Funimation and all the things that happened with Vic, it took its toll on them. Their brand became so damaged that once Crunchyroll, who was bought by Sony, decided to buy Funimation, instead of sticking with the Funimation name, they changed it to the Crunchyroll name. So Sony, I've got a big old rant for Sony, but I'll save that for another day. Most of the, as I said, with all the current season stuff, I'm watching it in Japanese because that's how it's presented. And most of it, if not all of it, is dubbed by the studios now, as opposed to Funimation or Crunchyroll or even High Dive having them do the dubs.
Okay.
But out of all the companies that does legitimate streaming, High Dive is actually really good. They're getting a lot of good shows, and they're gaining a lot of momentum. And I like them. They're not. They don't do stupid stuff, or at least they haven't done stupid stuff yet.
Okay.
So dub sub, it just depends. It really depends.
Okay. Let's see. Phantom Outsider asks, what about the return of Loom?
Yes. Here's what I'll say. I love Rumiko Takahashi. She is my creator crush. And the reason I say that is because everything that she's created is gold. Yeah, she did way back at the beginning of her career. That was her first manga. Let me see if I can pronounce it right. Urusei Yatsura. The original run of it was fantastic. The manga ran for almost a decade, and it is an absolute classic. Then she turned around and did Ranma 1/2. Same thing. Millions of copies sold. Excellent anime. Unfortunately, with the anime got cut short before she could complete it, and it's incomplete. And then what does she do after all that? Inuyasha. Same deal again. Tons of manga, tons of merchandise, great story, and they actually did go back and complete it in the anime form. So she is the most successful mangaka ever. She has over 200 million copies of her works sold throughout her time. And by far, as far as monetary, money-wise goes, yeah, she's the richest out of all of them. She's great. I love her. She's great.
Good.
So yes, this new telling of the story of Lum and her invading species. It really is just like how the old one was, just with the newer animation techniques, but they're not pushing the 3D stuff hard into it. So it just looks great. And it looks like it's from the time. It's not like they're running around with modern cell phones. They're running, home phones. What's your address? Things of that nature. It's great. It's a must see.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Dalek451 says, I was in a watch party last week for a Ghibli film last week called Only Yesterday.
Yeah, one of their newer ones, I believe.
Okay, and you say Akira.
Oh, no, it's not a newer one. It's an older one from 91. There's a ton of stuff that's been done by Studio Ghibli that wasn't handled by Miyazaki, but by other people within the studios, and that's one of them.
Okay. I have never seen Akira. I guess I have to.
Okay.
Watch.
Here's the deal with Akira.
Uh-huh.
It is drastically different than the manga. And it had to be because it was only an hour and 20-minute film. So they're condensing, 10 or so ish volumes or tankobons, which in and of itself is about like 8 to 10 chapters each. Trying to take this whole volume of work, condense it down to an hour and 20, and the creator of it, why can't I remember his name? Hold on just one sec. Akira. Who wrote Akira? Let's see. Otomo directed it, but it was Izo Hashimoto that did the manga, I believe. Yeah. But anyways, it is a seminal piece of filmmaking. The amount of detail in that movie, even to this day, astounds people. If you tell them that everything on that was hand drawn and done on cells, they'll look at you like you're strange, because of all the different scenes that they did and the amount of detail that they did. I actually have the 4K release of it, and there's some details that have been found in it that you couldn't see before on either the high def release, the DVD release, or even the original Laserdisc releases. There's a piece of medical equipment that has a little placard on it that says, in Japanese, "Why do I have to do so much detail work in this shot?" It was the animators basically complaining about how much work they had to do to get it into there, and nobody noticed it until the 4K remaster and rescanning of it. Then it finally showed up well enough to be able to see.
Okay.
But yes, Akira is one that it is a must-see. Even though it's, as I said, it's very cut down compared to the manga. Definitely get it. It's worth watching. It's worth seeing many, many times. It's multi-layered. And of course, get the manga. The various places sell the complete manga of it. So,
okay. John Rendell says, "I remember the one character in Marine Boy made me think of Ernest Borgnine." Yes, I agree. Phantom Outsider says, "Gigantor, Kimba, Speed Racer, Marine Boy, Astro Boy, Star Blazers, and classics."
Yep. 70s classics, 60s classics. Yep.
Killer Kill is awesome. I agree, Dalek. I agree. Legatus Legion I asks, "Did you enjoy anime that turned in live action, like Super Sentai became Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?" Oh, I detested the Rangers. I detested them.
There's a lot of that happened. I remember when Power Rangers came out, and of course, just the right time for me.
Go ahead and talk. I got to talk to Sandra real quick.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things when you do go and see the original Japanese cuts of these shows versus the U.S. releases of them, or the U.S. Conglomerations. I liked Power Rangers. I didn't know that it was Super Sentai until much later in life, and it's just I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but at the same time, I feel that you probably would be better served watching the original source material.
Because they didn't reset the thing.
So yeah, that's what I would say about that.
They didn't hit the reset button. It's too dark for me to tell.
Let's see. Yeah, Voltron. Yep, Voltron is anime from the 80s, despite the U.S. indication. Yeah. Well, Voltron was a combination of two different shows, Go Lion being one of them, and I can't remember what the other one is, but yeah, it's I like them both ways. I remember them originally how I saw them, and I can appreciate what they are, and I can go and watch the original cuts of all that and appreciate them for what they are too.
Okay. I'm back. For those who are worried, Sandra is home and safe. We just got to now try and figure out what to do with her vehicle. Okay. Phantom Outsider says, "Bubblegum Crisis, Project A-ko." I loved Project A-ko.
Yes.
The very beginning one. The sequel's kind of bad. Gunsmith Cats.
Yep,
Never
Gunsmith
saw that
Cats.
Ranma, never saw that.
Ranma 1/2, yep.
Saw bits and pieces of Harlock.
I love Captain Harlock, but then again, I have a special affinity towards the Galaxy Express 39. I love that movie. I love the TV series, and Captain Harlock is within that same universe, that same animation style, that very late 70s, very early 80s.
Mhm.
You can see the transition from how things were done in the 70s versus how things were done after Fist of the North Star. Once Fist of the North Star came out, the look of Kenshiro is the prototypical look that dominates even to a point still today. So you can see it.
Nora Poopa says, I vaguely remember watching Speed Racer as a cub. I'm sure it was an inferior English dub version, and I got me drawing race cars for a while. Okay, the Mach 5. Can't beat it. Okay.
No, and Speed Racer is kind of he's got some mental issues. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But that's just how the show went. So
yeah. This is the question that must be answered for posterity. By Pudgy Hedgehog. Question: what's your favorite cookie?
Oh man, so many to choose from. Ooh, I'm gonna have to say a raspberry cheesecake white macadamia nut cookie.
Ooh, that sounds decadent.
Yes, very. Yeah, 300 calories in a cookie the size of my palm. Yeah, it's rich, all right.
Oh yeah,
delicious, but rich.
Snorter Poopa says, as a culturally deprived bear, I wonder if there are any anime-based role-playing games or computer games.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. Pretty much, anything from the Nintendo era, the Super Nintendo era. There's a lot of them that have been remade and are available on modern computers, like Legend of Mana, the Secret of Mana series. Of course, any of the Final Fantasies. Let me think here. Phantasy Star Online is a good one. The original Phantasy Stars, Shining Force. You name it. There are eras for everything, and most of them you can get pretty easily. And even today, there's still stuff being cranked out that would be worth your time.
Yeah. Okay, Dalek asks, what is the very first anime you watched?
Voltron. I remember as a kid, a neighbor friend of mine, he had an older stepbrother, and the things that we would always do at his place: watch the G.I. Joe movie, play Nintendo, and watch Voltron and RoboCop.
Okay.
Yeah, a 7-8-year-old watching RoboCop. I probably shouldn't have seen that early in life, but that's okay.
I couldn't even make RoboCop after the guy got blasted by the robot. I turned it off right after that.
Yes, I do love RoboCop. It's an 80s classic that couldn't be remade today, even though they tried. They failed.
Yeah. Okay. Fandom Outsider says in 2012 they did a really nice live-action Star Blazers, aka the Battle Cruiser Yamato.
Yes, they did. And there's also, if I remember correctly, an updated anime of Star Blazers that was done within the past 15 or so years.
Okay. I don't know what he means by that. Always double down. Okay. Let's see. They also based the presentation of the anime on popularity. As popularity wanes and they get fewer and fewer pages of exposure.
Yeah, I can see that within the various weekly or monthly magazines that actually have these chapters for these animes or manga. Yeah.
Phantom Outsider says, my brother used to watch in original language with English subtitles.
Yeah. Right now, subtitles are the way to go. Although there are some shows that I will rewatch dubbed, if for no other reason than the studio trying to do them is trying to make a quality product, and it just helps spread the good word. There are certain people within my community that they don't want to watch them in subtitles because of how much they read during the day. They just can't handle it. So
yeah. And we talked about this one old man. He says dubbed or subbed, and you say it depends.
yes.
Hello, old
really
man.
depends.
Hello, old man. Okay. Phantom Outsider says, then he learned Japanese so he could be sure the subtitles were accurate.
That's devotion. If you can take the time to really truly learn Japanese and understand the sentence structures, more power to you, because it's not easy.
Yeah. True. Let's see. Hello, Pierre Kelly. Okay. Here is a Crunchyroll hater. Dalek 451 refuses to give a penny to Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I hear you.
One cable channel that really had some good anime was that wasn't called Cartoon Network, was Spike. Is it? No, G4 or G4 Tech TV. They had an anime. They had an anime block. That's where I saw classics like Better Man. Oh yeah, that's a creepy show, but awesome. They had Silent Mobius, another good one. Those are the two that really stood out to me that I really liked from that channel. You hear of those two?
I apologize. I had to cough there during the first one. What was the first show?
The first show was called Better Man.
No, never heard of that one.
Okay. You ought to check it out. It's creepy but good. And the other one is Silent Mobius. An all-female police force going after creepy monsters from another dimension.
Oh, sounds like fun.
Yeah. But of course, once that channel went belly up, they never were seen again. Let's see. Legatus asks, talking about voice actors, do you have a favorite?
Not really. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at associating. Well, no, I take that back. The guy that does the voice for hold on. My brain just died again. Hold on one sec. Let me actually grab my physical copies of them so I can actually say who they are. 1 second here.
Okay. All right. Pierre Kelly, I think we're talking two different ones. Yes, Filmation was known for Fan Albert and He-Man and She-Ra, but the big anime company, which to our regret went downhill, is Funimation.
Yeah. Okay. Johnny Bosch did the voice of Vash the Stampede in Trigun, and hold on. I can see him. Oh, the gentleman that did the voice of Spike Spiegel.
Oh,
And I'm gonna
I know
kick myself.
I know the voice actor who did his partner. God, now I forgot his name.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna come to me here in just a second. Getting there.
Bo Billingsley did.
There we go.
Bo Billingsley did Spike's partner's voice.
Steve Bloom.
Yeah,
He did a ton of voice work during the 90s and stuff. So
he did.
yeah, I like them both.
Yes,
And then
I believe he did it. He did Wild. Oh no, he did. Oh God, Gene. He did Gene on Outlaw Star.
and you see, I don't know because I haven't seen Outlaw Star.
Oh, you got to check out Outlaw Star. Let's see.
There we go. Now, my favorite female is Petra Celeste Boucard. She was the English voice actress for the space pirate Ryoko in Tenchi Muyo. I absolutely adore her voice for Ryoko.
Her voice was very, very. Hail Ryoko.
Yes, yeah, she's by far she's my favorite waifu. I'll just say it right there. She's my favorite.
Let's see. Dalek451 says Inuyasha is one of my top favorite anime ever. I would not argue with you. It was good.
Yeah, Rumiko knows what she's doing when she writes this stuff.
Yeah. On his birthday, he went out and bought 3 manga books. One of them had the first 3 volumes of Inuyasha.
Nice. I think when I finally start my manga collection, I think I'm going to start with the current Dark Horse releases of Fist of the North Star and Vampire Hunter D. Okay. Especially Fist of the North Star, because they've got further with it on this current run than any of the 2 prior English translated runs. And it is so good. Oh, it's so good.
Okay. He says quality over quantity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true.
Old man said, last one I watched was Wicked City. Oh boy, that was a little too raw for me.
Oh yeah, that comes from a different time, and yeah, things were. I would say that the very late 80s, early 90s, especially for the OVA releases like that, they were much more raw compared to what they're doing these days. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Let's see. Voltron was considered an anime in the 80s despite coming to U.S. syndication.
Yes, because it was animated, or the base part of the show, which is Go Lion, was animated in Japan. Yeah.
Are you on to listen to see the hellos?
I'll get on the sec.
Okay. All right. Pudgy says, hello, Sandra. She'll be on in a moment, Pudgy.
All right.
Yeah. Dalek451 says, I watched Power Rangers when it first aired over here, but these days I can't stand it. I never liked it at all.
No. It does not hold its luster. Although, at least it doesn't for us, but they're still making new versions of Power Rangers, so someone somewhere keeps watching it. So yeah. Something for longevity, just not for me.
Yes. Yeah. Galaxy Express is a beautiful and kind of sad movie.
Oh yes. Oh my word. You want to talk about a show that is set in a world where things are extremely depressing, but also very, very beautiful. Yeah. The Galaxy Express and its worlds they're it. It is really good. If you're wanting to go with something that's that very, very late 70s, like 78, 79, early 80s, that's a series to watch. Okay. Either that or watch the condensed movie. You got your choice.
Okay. And Pudgy asked about the cookie. Legato says the one you're currently eating. But then Pudgy asks,
the one you're currently eating is your favorite cookie.
Yeah. And then his question is, which bakery sells said cookie?
We've got a local bakery here called Geraldine's, and they make it.
Okay. And we must get, okay. Dalek says, I watched the Netflix version of Voltron. Started out okay, but the ending was awful.
Yeah, like most things that Netflix touches, it very hit and miss. And with that one, it became a massive miss. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good one. Legatus asks if one is not familiar with anime, is there a starter series you would recommend?
That depends upon what you. It depends upon how old you are and what you currently enjoy. there literally is something for everyone.
Mhm.
And if you've got kids, I would say Doromon and something like Pokemon and Digimon.
Yeah.
The monster tamer, monster rancher, monster collector type show. You can't go wrong with them. They're just fun.
Yeah.
If for a little older, in the Shonen series, something like a My Hero Academia is a great place to start because there's a lot to it, but the story is told in a very concise way continually, and it follows the manga very well. Now, the one thing about anime, is going from one episode to the next, is a lot of these, especially these longer running shonen or shows made for teenagers and young adults. They'll typically take the first minute or two and do a recap of the prior episode, or cut back about a minute or two into the prior episode. So there is quite a bit of that happens, and that once you understand that, you just get used to it.
Okay.
But something like those would be great places to start. As far as for adults, the Golgo 13 series is a good one. That was done back in 2008. The movies are good. Any of the 90s OVAs from that Pioneer put out, the old Streamline Pictures releases, they're all great. They're great, yeah.
Okay. What do you think of the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise?
I've never been a Gundam person. I've never seen it. But I am gonna devote the whole month of December to the whole entire Gundam universe or universes.
My suggestion on that is, and I've watched. My suggestion would be stay with the original universe.
The Universal Century. Yeah.
Yeah. I never liked Gundam Wing. I don't like the Gundam Fight. Just stay with anything with the Universal Century.
Yeah. I do have on my list to watch the new series, The Witch from Mars, just to get a feel for it. But if I do want to dive into the original 79, I want to go into Zeta, the 80s series, and then all the other Universal Century stuff. That's really what I do want to try and focus on.
Yeah, 8th MS Team, Stardust Memory. Now I really liked the origin story that just came out recently. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a prequel to Mobile Suit Gundam that was made within the past few years to celebrate its 40th anniversary. So,
there's a ton of stuff for it, and Gundam is just one of those series that it's hard to get into because of how much there is. But once you're in it, you'll probably be very pleased that you are. And that's where a lot of these other series like One Piece, I have such a tough time trying to even fathom getting into it, because we're talking about 1,100 episodes, or even getting into like Dragon Ball, the 150 or so episodes of it, and then Dragon Ball Z, the 150 episodes of it, or into Super or GT or any of the other ones. There's just so much that it does become hard to do. So
let's see. Let's see. Dalek451 says, I'm not entirely sure, but my first anime was most likely Pokemon.
Yeah. Late to the very, very late 90s, 1999, 2000. Just, basically a year or so after Pokemon came out on the Game Boy system. Yeah. Pokemon is huge. And actually next month is Pokemon month and Monster Rancher, Monster Collecting month, because they're releasing the 9th generation game on the Nintendo Switch. So Pokemon's going to be hot, and we're going to talk some Pokemon anime to go with the gaming.
Cool. Hello, Basil, the pumpkin seagull. He says, "Do not fretteth. Basil, the seagull, has arrived." Yes.
Woohoo!
Hail, Basil. Let's see. Pudgy has Shining Burning Paul, a G Gundam. Let's see. Let's see. Doomcock is live.
Yeah, he's doing a Piercing the Veil tonight.
Ah, okay. I thought he wasn't supposed to do that till next week, but oh well.
The way I understood it, next week is when he was going to start doing
Pop Culture Breakdown.
Pop Culture Breakdown, yeah.
Moving
on
it
Wednesdays.
over. Oh, okay.
Be interesting to see how if there's a difference in the audience or all of that. Making a change like that it's always interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll see. But King Dolphin TV will still be on 6 to 8 Wednesdays.
That's right.
6 to 8 on Wednesdays, where we will continue to do creator interviews. Let's see. But let us continue. You know where I really, I saw this speed racer and stuff like that. But the strangest place that you could see anime. I was stationed when I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in Italy, and I would watch Italian TV, and they would have all these animes. Now, granted, they were all in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my Italian, you had to really slow down. You had to really slow down the Italian, but there was some good stuff. They had that's where I first found Lupin. But it wasn't the Drek that Cartoon Network came up with. It was called Story. I think we brought it out when it came over here. They called it Stories from the Wolf or Stories of the Wolf. And then
I'm not sure.
They were pretty risque. And then there were the big robot anime like Daltanius. And I think they may have had a definite thing for giant robots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
go ahead.
They did have the Big O, and they also had
I love the Big O.
Logon. Yeah.
I love the Big O. Oh, that one was too short, even both seasons.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Pudgy. Yeah, Doomcock is preempted for Mr. Raymond. Thank you. And John says, I'll be on KDTV. I'll be here for KDTV Wednesdays. Thank you very much, guys. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing this, bringing people out, getting interviews, and just having fun. Let's see. Time period BS before Sandra. Old man says, Gundam did not click with me. I know others really like it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, you either get it or you don't. And I myself, I know of it, but I've never seen it. Whereas I have seen, hold on, my brain just died again. Battletech. Not Battletech, Battletech is Mech Warrior. Oh crap. Macross, oh man, I apologize. My insomnia, my brain just died. I can see it. I can see the opening because the opening is awesome, but I can't remember what the US name of it is. Hold on just a second. Let me look it up real quick.
Okay. Pudgy says, somebody pushes belly button, LOL.
Yep, Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love is really good. That the movie is a quick rundown of it.
Mhm.
But Robotech. There we go. Got
Robotech.
it.
Okay.
Robotech.
Okay. So sorry about that. But there's just so much anime out there that.
Yes. Well, let me do this. Let me show you my current season watch list.
Okay.
And you'll probably either really freak out on it or be like, wait a second, but this is all of hold on a second, let me go back up. All of these, with the exception of Uncle from Another World, are current fall 2020 season shows.
Mhm.
Now, I decided to really devote my time to watching the current anime because that's where a lot of the current action is, and there's just a lot of really good stuff right now. The shows that are absolute, must watches, bangers, you're not going to drop them, is Spy Family. We have the second half of the first season that started back in the spring. It's brilliant. Spy Family's great.
Mhm.
We have Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out season 2. I absolutely adore it. Finally, we get kids that are not in high school; they're actually in college, so they're actually adults. And you would think that that some people would get the hint that they not only like each other, they like each other, but they just can't admit it to themselves, and it just goes from one thing to another. It's a great show.
Mhm.
Season 6 of My Hero Academia. Once again, it's My Hero, and this season is close to the culmination of what will be the end of the manga and the end of the series. The creator of the show said that they're close to the end.
Mhm.
So I like it when series do have a fully fledged finale.
Yeah.
As I said, there's a lot of them that don't, like Ranma 1/2. They didn't finish the anime. And then Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. It's Gundam. It's automatically, up there. And the studio that does it is great.
Okay.
And then this season's brand new show, based on the extremely popular manga, is Chainsaw Man. And I'm going to espout a potentially unpopular opinion, but I am not 100% sold on it.
You mean Chainsaw Pudgy?
In some respects, it would probably be funnier, but I like it, but I'm just not at that point where I adore it, like I do with Uzaki-chan or with Spy Family. I adore those shows, but
Pudgy asks. Let me interrupt a moment. Sorry. Pudgy asks, "What Cobalt wants to know what service is that?" The stuff.
Okay. The website is anylist.co. Basically, with it, you could
put it in the private chat.
Yeah. Let me pop it over here. There you go. But yeah, this is a site that allows you can create your profile, and then from there, you can create your own lists. You can actually go back to, track your favorite genre. They have anime details dating back all the way to the 40s.
Wow.
And then the specific season, and then the format. So if you're trying to find a show, but if you know the year, but you don't remember what it's called, you can use this to drill down, so you can find the TV show, the movie, the shorts, a special, OVA, which is basically direct-to-video, but unlike American direct-to-video, these shows didn't suck. ONA is the same thing, just direct to a streamer like Netflix or things like that. And then there's music. But for this season, out of all the shows, so any genre for the 2022 fall season that is specifically just a TV show, a OVA, and an ONA, there are, let's see, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There are 57 shows this season alone. And out of all of those shows, there are some that are returning, like this one. I've never seen it, so I didn't put it in my list. Same with Tiger and Bunny. I didn't see the original, so I don't have it in my list. But out of all of those, for my list specifically, I've got 28 shows for fall of 2022. 3 of them are movies, and the rest are TV shows. And out of all of them, I have watched at least one episode of all of these. And with some of them, I'm completely caught up. Mainly because they haven't aired their 3rd episode of that. But they hold a very tight schedule when it goes to the release of their shows. They're on point all the time. And I can tell you, besides the 5 that were guaranteed to be, top-notch bangers, my favorites from this season that I'm actually surprised at. Well, this one doesn't surprise me. Yurase Yatsura, it's perfect. It really is. So that's up there. I've somehow gotten stronger when I improved my farm-related skills. I created a little YouTube short from the first episode of this. Basically, as I said, with modern anime, there are certain things that they do a lot of. Isekai, or the, from one place to another. MMO or RPG styled games, or games that are set in a medieval fantasy land, but have mechanics based around games. This is one of those shows. The basic premise of this is this guy right here. He just wants to farm. That's all he wants to do. He loves his farm, but he's been doing so good at it that all of his other skill levels have increased exponentially. So one day, he's just out going to town to go sell his food. There's a dragon that's out and about. And the heroes that are supposed to be able to handle those things, they're having major problems with it. Well, he says he'll help him out by distracting the dragon. So he throws a carrot at it like a boomerang. And when the carrot hits the dragon explodes. Right. And he's like, holy crap. And the heroes are like, what the hell just happened? Who did that? And he runs away because, as I said, all he wants to do is farm. So I love this show. Okay. Never played Warhammer 40,000.
Okay.
I know of it, but never played it. So this is one that I like. Beast Tamer, I've only seen the first episode. I don't have an opinion on it yet.
Yeah, Stars, what was there, since he didn't do, he doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't know on that. This one is another weirdly named show, but it's actually quite interesting. I'm the villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. So this one's an isekai. This girl basically dies of cancer. But before she dies, she starts playing this game where the final boss, if you don't basically tame him, he turns into a dragon and kills everything. Destroys the world. Basically, he's like the world destroyer from Skyrim. I can't think of the dragon's name, but she dies, gets reincarnated as the villainess in the game. So she knows how the game is supposed to be played, but because she's the bad guy, or supposedly the villainess, she has to try and go and change the story for herself. Otherwise, she dies. I like that type of show. They're just, a friend of mine calls them just fun isekai trash. It's like comfort food. You know it's probably not the best for you. You probably know it's not the best thing to watch. But it's just a fun time, something to decompress, and you'll typically find a pretty decent story. I like this one.
Okay.
Now,
Snorter Poopa says, "Oh, exploding carrots," and Dalek says, "He just wants to farm. He sounds lame."
But he's not lame. As compared to the other one that Dalek and I were talking about, which I'll touch on here in a second, he wants to farm, but he's not a pushover. If things happen around him, he'll take action. So he's not a lamer in that respect, where unlike in this other show, Love Flops, this is more of a traditional harem show. In this case, one guy bumps
18.
into all of these. What was that?
One guy, 18 gals.
Yeah, one guy, in this case, 5 gals. And he, for the most part, just wants to go about his daily life, do his thing. But he runs into all of them, and, the various sexual things happen, the tropes, the accidental touching, articles of clothing going missing, faces going in places, stuff like that. In this one, yeah, at least at the beginning in the first episode, the guy's a total weenie. But that's both part of the charm and part of the problem with the Japanese culture. They have a real problem right now with population replenishment. Their population is old, and they're not having kids at the level that they need to sustain themselves. If I remember correctly, they're currently at about 125 million people throughout the country of Japan. Like in 50 years, they're going to be down to about 80 million or so. That's a problem. So because of that, a lot of the shows over time have these same tropes that this one has. This is probably one that I'm probably going to drop. Because the whole thing of sexual situations and seeing things for the first time, it doesn't hold its appeal. It doesn't hold its appeal like it would have if I was 20 years younger. So that's probably going to go. The other show that is probably going to go is this one here, Raven of the Inner Palace. This is a story that's set in China. A lot of palace intrigue. It's not my thing. I had a tough time getting through the first episode. It's probably going to go. Now, if you want something that has a lot of historical ties to it, this one, My Master Has No Tail. It's a story about a tanuki who is basically, think of it as a raccoon that likes to trick humans. Well, 1920s Japan was a very different time. You're talking about the old school traditional meeting electricity, rail cars, and Model Ts. That whole transition in their culture. Well, let's see here. This character, she is the tanuki. She wants to learn how to become a rakugo, basically a storyteller. So the Japanese art of rakugo. And this is her master, the person that actually is the storyteller. She wants to trick everybody, but because everybody's so jaded, her tricks don't work as a tanuki. But her as a rakugo in the stories, they do. It has the same effect, or it gives the tanuki the same high as if they themselves were doing the tricking. So she wants to learn how to do it. It's a cute show. I like it, but I don't think it's going to be something that I'm going to probably go past. It's not fully up my alley.
Lagana says articles of clothing off the harem ladies going missing. Call that a win-win.
Yeah, unlike shows from the past like High School DxD, you don't see it, but it's fully insinuated.
Of course. What do you think of Escaflowne?
Heard of it. Keep getting recommended. I have not seen it yet. I know it's highly regarded, but then again, so is oh crap. What's the show? Oh, 90s, very depressing. The guy that created it was depressed. It's been redone multiple times with Amazon. Mecha show.
Yeah, it was a strange one.
Oh, what was it? Why can't I remember? My mind is just not... crap. Mid-90s mecha show, 1 season, very depressing. I can see it, but I can't... Hold on a sec, let me look.
And while you're doing that, hello
there we go.
to the Peter Venkman fan site.
Heyo!
Just followed Brandon here. Well, glad you could make it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Peter Venkman fan site, she's a great person. It's good to have you here. I got it now. Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Okay.
Yep. That's the one I was trying to think of. It's highly depressing at the end, but it's also very deep meaning. Yeah, Evangelion.
Yeah.
But
Um,
another thing that they do like to do a lot of is sports, and soccer has been a pretty big thing over the years.
oh yeah, I've seen a lot of soccer video. I
Well,
watch like one video and say click.
Captain Tsubasa, I really do like. But
Mhm.
Blue Lock is a new series. It's actually getting a full 24 episode season. Haven't watched it yet, but it's on the watch list. Same with Little Lies We All Tell. Haven't seen it yet. Now this one I really do like. It's a once again it's a sword and sorcery fantasy setting. It has some Japanese RPG elements within the show itself, but it's about this this orphan, Sarasa, who graduates from the Royal Alchemist Academy, and her master, her teacher, helps set her on her way into a nice little village. And it's a very down to home slice of life type of show, just set in a fantasy world. It's a girl power show. The main character is female. Most of the characters that she encounters are female, but the people within the town and everyone else she meets, they're not complete and total. They're not mean to her. If they are, it's very short lived once they realize who she is, because they haven't had an alchemist for a while, but that she's a nice person. And they're like, okay, you like our village, we like you. There's a lot of respect that goes into this, and it's not my normal cup of tea, but I like it. So
Okay.
that one I'll keep watching.
All right. Let's
As
see.
far as
Dalek says, would it kill them to do a harem with the protagonist who isn't the lamest, most boring guy ever?
you would think after all these years that they would have figured that out, but that's just not typically how it goes. So
Come on, Tenchi Muyo was had the same issue,
Yep.
and look how popular it got.
Yep, exactly. Let's see. This
We'll go through a
is
couple more, and then we'll start winding down.
this is a show that has two versions, edited and unedited. There's
Wow.
typically always one or two shows a season that's done that way.
Okay.
Technically, this is also a harem in a fantasy world. The guy just wants to get out of being an adventurer and just go to college. But to do that, he's got to train his replacement, and it just goes crazy. But this is the Japanese name of it, and this is the translated name of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it loses
Now-
something in the translation.
exactly. Now, this one I really like. Reincarnated as a sword. You wouldn't think that a dude dying, being reborn as a sword would be intriguing, but it is. He it's not like there's a lot of these shows where the guy or the gal that goes through the isekai process starts off way overpowered, either because they remember everything or just know how to do everything. This guy doesn't. When he starts as the sword, he realizes that he has been reborn as a sword. He's sentient. He can do things. He has magic or mana to be able to do various things, but he's not overpowered to start with. He has to take the time to learn how to become the sword that he's meant to become, and then he eventually gets a wielder who is a furry. Her name is Fran, and she's a black cat. And in this world, black cats are looked down upon. And I really like it. It's a great tale, fun isekai. Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Okay.
Eminence in the Shadow, another isekai reincarnation. It's okay, but I'm not sure on it yet if I'm going to continue it.
Okay.
Shinobi no Itoki. Basically, it's a story about a ninja clan that lives kind of in the shadows. There's a ton of other clans. Someone's trying to kill him. It's different because they don't do a ton of these type of shows anymore, and it's okay. Now, for the really out there,
All
Uncle
right.
from Another World was really out there, and I really like it. And unfortunately, they're taking their sweet time for the next episode. But this one, The Human Crazy University, is definitely different. It's more of a motion comic or a motion manga. Basically, this guy, he gets convicted of killing his wife or fiance and her supposed lover, and survives the execution. And because of that, he is sent to the Human Crazy University to figure out why, and also to figure out basically who he was, because he loses his memory because of the whole thing. And it's out there.
Okay.
It's different.
All
But then
right.
again, I kind of like the different.
Okay. All right. Well, this is great. I know we can go a long time going over anime, and I think we'll have you back at another
Absolutely.
time. At another time, and we'll talk more anime. We'll go one more question, and then you know what, guys? What about the old school Ranma 1/2?
I love Ranma. It is so good. And there's a lot of they could. I'm hoping that with the success of Yorosei Yatsura, that they'll go through and read and basically redo or give the treatment to Ranma that they're doing to that. That would tickle me pink. That would be perfect.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Brandon, this was great. I really enjoyed having you on. We could talk anime all night, but unfortunately,
yeah, we could. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you having me on. It was it was a great conversation.
Yep, it was. I enjoyed it. Your knowledge of anime is great. I know there may be some in the chat that love it. There are some that probably don't. And John Rendell's saying hit it. You know what, you guys. So yeah, but we'll have you back, and we'll talk more anime. Maybe we'll get into the old school stuff.
Absolutely. Just pick a decade, and I'll go through and scour what I've seen, what I haven't seen, what I need to see, and what's hot and what you should collect.
Maybe,
especially from the 80s and the 90s.
And maybe we can go more into like the origins of anime, because there's a lot of the origins of anime that I'm intrigued in.
They need to introduce the Lake of the Drowned Polar Bear.
Oh, Phantom Outsider. Oh man, and the drowned hedgehog.
Drowned hedgehog.
Oh no, that's evil. I was gonna send you to kitty table, but you're too violent for the kitty table.
When you watch Ranma, you'll understand it. It's hilarious.
Okay, all right.
And also, Rumiko did not have a problem of making fun of Chairman Mao.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. All right. Who in the chat wants to? We're gonna do show notes. Who wants the tame version or the? Yeah, Phantom Out. We'll do that another time. Phantom Outsider. Legatus Legion I says to view more on anime, visit the guest's YouTube channel, and there it is, Fandom the Anime Guy.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not getting any responses, so I'll just do regular show notes. No one's saying anything, so.
Oh, pardon me, I've got stuff in my chest.
Okay. All right. I was going to do it anyway, guys. I was just teasing you. All right, we're going to do show notes. Here we go.
It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. With Mr. Raymond and Sandra too. It's time for show notes. Done.
Phantom Outsider, if I tried to sing that song, I would probably be booted off the channel. I would be probably booted off the channel for trying to sing show notes. Pudgy does it so much better. All right, show notes. This Saturday, we're going to have Just Cuz. The countdown is continuing for the for the big anniversary, birthday, and 100th episode. On the 23rd, I'm going to debut Surfside Chat, where I do a short, unstructured talk about anything. I may bring somebody on I may bring one person on to just do a one-on-one or whatever. It's even more unstructured than Just Cuz, if you can believe that. On the 26th, we're going to do another Surfside Chat, mainly because I want to get to 100 episodes by the 29th. And the 29th will be, block your calendars, set your sunglasses, reminders, set your hourglasses. It's going to be the big birthday, anniversary, and centennial episode bash. So good, I'm starting early. So,
nice.
And then and November 2nd, we will have Kristina Hoffman in again. And Legatus Legionai says, Just Cuz has structure? Who knew? Yeah, you know, it happens. I even think I'm going to have some pretty cool guests besides the usual podmates. So it looks like it's going to be a great show, and I know there are a few denizens of the pod who are planning some deviltry. So, and I told them not to tell me because I want to be surprised. We'll make sure I have my defibrillator here in case it's too much for this old man. But that is the show notes. Again, Brandon, stick around after here so we can just see how the episode or how the show went.
Yeah.
John Rendell says, have a great night all. Please join us on Baron Norman Tag's channel later tonight. His guest is Salty Texas Sea. Oh, okay, cool. Yes. Sandra says, go on over to Piercing the Veil and tell him it's a King Dolphin raid. Yeah. Do a King Dolphin raid. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Yes. Yeah, do a King Dolphin raid. So again, this is a fantastic show. As always, I love Wednesdays. I love Just Cuz. I love all we do. I love everything that King Dolphin does. And I hope we just keep going. We're small, but we're feisty. We're small but feisty. And Sandra says, good night, everybody. Please pray, think good thoughts that our cars will be repaired soon and cheaply. I agreed. Both cars out at the same time. There is something going on. Thank you, Brandon. And Pudgy says, good night, everybody. Pudgy hugs everybody. Thank you, Pudgy. All right, so let us give a good night to those who came on to see the chat and listen to Brandon wax eloquent about Wax's eloquence on anime. Snorta Poopa sacrifices a baby Prius to the car gods. Don't laugh, Snort. I had a Prius as my first loaner last week. Now I got a Corolla. Legata says the two cars are eloping. And Alex says, great show. All right, let's thank everybody who's here. My wrench team supreme, Legatus Legionai, first in, last out. We had John Rendell. And we had Pudgy Hedgehog, our newest wrench. I'm waiting for him to gather the power. He's got the power. The powerful hedgehog. And, of course, we cannot forget our favorite polar bear. Snorta Poopas! QBar.com. Night, buddy. See you Saturday. So, and then we've got the people in the chat. We had the old man. We had Phantom Outsider. Andy Masterson came in. Pierre Kelly. Lord Thoth. Basil, the Pumpin' Seagull. We had Dalek 451. And we had low spec a Linux laptop. Let's say that 10 times fast. And we had the Peter Venkman fan site. All of you guys are great. If you are new here, please subscribe, like it. Tell everybody that this little pod is amazing. And you guys be safe. Please think good thoughts for both of us. Being without cars is a pain. Phantom Outsider says, I think this was an attack by the Porpoise Consortium. And John, once is enough. Will Saturday will come soon enough. And our porpoises just envious dolphins. Yeah. All right, you guys, you take care, be safe, and have a great weekend. We'll see you Saturday.
Later, y'all.
Let's keep making waves. You take care. Oh, and Basil, both our cars, the same brand, the same year, within a week of each other, both had overheats. To the extent that they had both had overheats, and they're both down. So, all right. Good night, all. Take care.